He was right there, the man who took my husband's life. My hands trembled not from fear but from the weight of years of planning, and the knife I had hidden in my sleeve. I could end him right there in front of everyone, but instead, I looked him in the eyes and said 4 words that stunned the entire room. If you've ever imagined what you'd do if you finally came face to face with the person who destroyed your life, you're going to want to hear this story. It's not the ending you expect, but it's one you'll never forget. Hit like, subscribe, and let's dive into one of the most emotionally charged revenge stories you'll hear all year. Her name was Mara. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't a fighter. She was a wife, and a happy one. Her husband, Daniel, was the kind of man people trusted. Broad-shouldered, quick to laugh, the kind of guy who'd help a neighbor fix their roof even if it meant working through dinner. They'd been married for 6 years. 6 years of shared coffee in the mornings, whispered plans for the future at night. And then, it all shattered. It was a time of unrest in their city. Lines were being drawn, sides taken. Daniel wasn't interested in politics, but he believed in loyalty and in standing up for the truth. Unfortunately, that made him dangerous to the wrong people. One cold evening, a group of men he thought were his friends, came to their home. They didn't shout, they didn't threaten, they just said, "We need to talk." He went with them. Mara watched from the doorway, something in her gut screaming, "Don't let him go." She never saw him alive again. The next morning, they found his body in a ditch. No trial, no explanation. Just silence. Grief is a strange thing. At first, Mara felt hollow, like she was watching her own life from the outside. But the emptiness didn't last. It filled with rage. These weren't faceless strangers. She knew the men who did it. She knew their voices, their habits, where they lived. And worst of all, they went on living as if nothing happened. Laughing in the market, drinking in the taverns. Some even had the audacity to nod at her in passing. Every time she saw them, her pulse pounded in her ears. Her hands curled into fists until her nails drew blood. At night, she imagined it in detail. How she'd make them feel the same fear Daniel must have felt, the same helplessness. But revenge is not something you can take lightly. And Mara was patient. Years passed. The world changed, and so did Mara. Outwardly, she was quiet, almost invisible. But inside, she kept the memory of Daniel burning like an ember, waiting for the right wind to turn it into a flame. One night, a whisper came from an old acquaintance. One of the traitors had been cast out by his own allies. No protection, no friends, alone. This was it. She spent days preparing, not for some messy street fight, she wanted it controlled, deliberate. She found out where he was staying, she memorized his routines, she even prepared a small dagger sharp enough to do the job in one move. When the day came, she dressed in dark clothes and approached quietly, her heart steady but her breath shallow. Every step toward him felt like reclaiming a piece of her stolen life. She found him in an old, half-abandoned building, sitting at a table with a bottle of cheap liquor. He looked smaller than she remembered, older, but her mind flashed back to Daniel's laugh, Daniel's hands, Daniel's body in the cold dirt. Her grip tightened on the dagger. She stepped forward, and he turned. Recognition flared in his eyes, not fear at first, just surprise. "Mara," he whispered. She could see it dawning on him. His lips trembled. The bottle in his hand clinked against the table. "You killed him," she said, her voice low but sharp enough to cut. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. This was the moment. Every plan, every fantasy, every night she'd imagined driving this blade into his chest. It all led here. Her pulse roared in her ears. The dagger was warm in her hand from her own skin. But then, another memory rose up. Daniel's voice. Not in anger, not in pain, but in calm certainty. "The truth will come out, one day, and it won't be by our hands, Mara. Justice isn't ours to take." She froze. Her chest felt tight. The man before her looked pathetic, weak, haunted. Whatever life he had now, it was already a punishment. Mara exhaled, the air shaking as it left her lungs. She slid the dagger back into her sleeve. "I won't give you the satisfaction," she said. "My lord will bring justice." And she walked away. Behind her, she heard him mutter something. Maybe her name, maybe a plea. She didn't care. For the first time in years, the weight in her chest eased. Revenge would have been quick. But this was permanent. He would live the rest of his life knowing she had the chance and chose not to take it. That the judgment hanging over him would come from someone, he couldn't escape. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in striking back. It's in walking away, knowing the universe or God will take care of the rest. Mara didn't get blood. She got peace. And in the end, that was worth more. If this story hit you as hard as it hit me, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, would you have done what Mara did? Or would you have taken your shot? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that will make you feel everything.